And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land, and also my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing this week? How's life? How are things? And are you surviving the cold?
Yeah. I haven't been outside yet to see it. I think we're getting some really cold temperatures on Sunday. Right now, we just have a little bit of flurries, but not enough accumulation to go out and shovel yet. Um, well, yeah, but definitely the weather kind of um, impacted some travel plans for some folks that were coming into the area this week.
Yeah, us included. We were gonna come in town and uh, hang out and see family, and had a birthday party and other stuff going on this weekend. And you see the fish, you see the
Yeah,
flag, you see my house. I'm still here.
yeah, but it's all right though. So we want people to be safe. We want them to be warm. So we don't. I totally get it. Um, yeah, 2 more weeks. I think no more full weeks of work, but definitely now it's getting down to at least not full weeks, but now it's almost like partial weeks until we get into Christmas. So less and less full work weeks,
I
full
got
work days. Getting down to I think now it's down to 3 full days and yeah, only like 3 days in the office the next 2 weeks to get us into Christmas, and then no working. So
I'm in
it'll be
five,
nice.
and then I'm off 10. So that'll be nice. And then I come back for one PD day, and then I'm off for two more.
A PD day?
Yeah, yeah. The second is a PD day, professional development.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have that. This we have. So I have 5 days, 10 days, one day, and nothing, and then 2 days off. So um, we are thinking about coming in between the like maybe the I don't think we're gonna come down as late as New Year's, but the weekend after Christmas we might come down.
Okay.
Just to depending on how uh, the week goes and how the weather looks. We haven't 100% decided yet. So, anyway, with that, Rich, let's get into talking about what we got to talk about today this week.
Mm-hmm.
Huge news to come out of NASCAR. Huge, bigly.
Yeah.
This is altering news in the landscape of NASCAR. Rich, that's all I'm going to share because that's big enough for me. What else we got?
Yeah, and exactly. You'll have a lot to talk about on that. So, and as always, we'll be talking about the football. And this week on our Mount Rushmore series, we'll be looking at wide receivers.
Yeah. All that and more. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, Rich, before we get into any of that, the most important question of the week.
Our poll question,
Our
Mike.
poll question.
Yeah. This week, Mike, we saw our wild card winner into this Elite Nine being Picnics going up against Farmers Markets. Mike, I don't visit enough, but I always seem to walk away with something when I do go to them. So I voted Farmers Markets.
Yeah, I normally do as well. I love farmers markets. Again, I agree we don't go nearly as much as we probably should. But with that being said, yeah, I still voted for Burr. No, this. I think I voted for farmers markets. I
You,
have to
you
see.
did. It was a clean sweep.
Oh yeah,
Nobody voted for the Picnics.
yeah. And we had 4 votes, so it wasn't just our opinion. It's there's people voting with us. As we had Matt Johnson. Happy birthday, Matt. We forgot to say that last week, but yesterday was his birthday, I believe.
Mm.
And my wife, Danielle Hart. And then you and me.
All right. This week, Mike, number 3, grilling, going up against a snowball fight, which we pegged at number 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I can, yeah.
All right, so that poll is going to go live at high noon Central Time, so be watching for that. Mike, where can they find those poll questions?
You can find that at facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks, facebook.com/ or Rich and Mine's page, or facebook.com/balls and sticks. I said fans and balls. We have 2 different pages. Check it out. You can see it there.
All right, Mike, just see what's coming up next.
Is it a left-hand corner?
It's a left-hand turn, Mike.
Oh, okay. Are we heading to the courthouse?
We might be, Mike, because we're going to go into the NASCAR corner. The NASCAR corner is presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, and you can also find them on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Mike, no races to talk about, no real driver updates to talk about, but we finally have a resolution on the lawsuit that's been a year in the making.
Yeah. So the teams, first let's read the joint statement that came out. Was that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday morning-ish. We'll read that, and then we'll talk about it. We have a couple reactions from some owners and some the chairman and CEO of NASCAR. So first, we're going to start out with this. NASCAR 2311 and Front Row Motorsports are pleased to announce a mutually agreed upon resolution that delivers long-term stability, creates the conditions for meaningful growth for all teams in a more competitive environment. This resolution reflects our shared commitment to maintain a fair and equitable framework for long-term practice in America's premier motorsport. One that supports teams, partners, and stakeholders while ensuring fans enjoy uninterrupted access to the best racing in the world. The agreement allows all parties to move forward with an unfettered focus on advancing stock car racing and delivering exceptional competition for our fans. With this matter now resolved, all parties look forward to working together alongside all chartered race teams to deliver world-class events, dynamic sponsorship, and partner activity opportunities and continued growth for generations to come. As a condition of the settlement agreement, NASCAR will issue an amendment to existing charter holders detailing the updated terms for signature, which will include a form of, quote, evergreen, unquote, charters, subject to mutual agreement. The financial terms of the settlement are confidential and will not be released. What all parties have also agreed on is a deep love for the sport and a desire to see it fulfill its full potential. This landmark moment, one that ensures NASCAR's foundation is strong, its future is bright, and its possibilities are greater. We extend our sincere thanks to Judge Kenneth Bell and mediator Jeffrey Mishkin for their professionalism and guidance through this process, and to their jury for their time. Okay. So, a lot of stuff comes out of it. if you didn't catch it, they called them evergreen charters. So there's a difference between that and a permanent charter. A permanent charter says, I own it, you can't do anything about it, sucks to be you. What an evergreen charter, and this is what we know, is that in the new agreement, charters are now yours. You own them. However, if you do not compete at a level deemed by NASCAR and hopefully the other teams, you do not get to keep your charter. You can be forced to sell your charters. Also, another thing that got added, so there used to be, if NASCAR changed rules, there was a 3-strike policy, essentially meaning that the teams could pretty close to veto a overarching rule in NASCAR.
So is that 3 teams giving a strike, or
I'm not entirely sure, Rich.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what that means either. So now,
But-
does it take 5 teams saying no,
Right.
that's wrong, we're not going to accept that instead of 3?
I don't know. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but yes, it's a 5-strike rule. So essentially, the teams have veto powers. What that looks like exactly, I'm not entirely sure. We have had a little bit of time to look into it, but not enough that I've gotten to dig into it super deep. I'll try to get a little more info for you as the weeks, maybe in the next months before we get into the NASCAR season next year. But what it does give that back to the teams, that type of a veto power. It also increases revenue for the teams.
It was new. They agreed with, if it was new revenue streams, they get a portion of that.
Oh,
as
no, they
well
get
as
a portion of all the revenue streams. They increase their portion, but they get a higher percentage of new and international markets, which they never got anything out of.
Gotcha.
So, it's huge. This guarantees teams who have chart. By the way, this also naturally it reinstates the charters for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, which is awesome. Bringing them back into compliance with all of their contracts that they have, and also allowing them to do to move forward and get the guarantee spots in races and all that stuff. I'm excited for what this means. We'll get to what some of these quotes say, but some of just my natural reaction is, this is awesome. This is as much as the ownership of NASCAR, the France family, will hate this as it is, because they're giving up a ton. They're giving up a ton in this. It means that NASCAR, it will help NASCAR in the long run. It makes it so that the teams have an easier path to leverage things, to make more money, to do better. And if the teams do better, then the sport does better. And if the sport does better, the teams do better. If nothing more, there's already reports that there are charters attempting to be purchased, that were being attempted to be purchased before this settlement had happened, and it is a 30 to 50% increase in value in the charters already. Those teams literally got between 30 and 50% of the value of their charters just instantly went up. So if Rich, you and I randomly won the Powerball and we were like, we want to get into NASCAR, our cost just to get a charter, that doesn't include any of the other stuff we have to do, just to get a charter has gone up minimum 30%. That just gets us a charter. That doesn't get us cars. That doesn't get us any of the other stuff. That gets us a charter, which is nuts.
Yeah. So what do you think the whole, if a team isn't competing? would look
Yeah.
like? Is it based on race finishes? Or could it be race finishes where you have a team that's runs every week because they have that charter, but they're really struggling to not finish in the bottom five every week if you took out if you took out wrecks that forced normally contending cars to exit the race earlier, or could it be based on that your car isn't competitive in the race because it's struggling to make speed and there's a really wide gap, we're a really wide gap in between your car's speed and the field speed.
So this is a hard one for NASCAR to regulate in general. This has been a problem for NASCAR for years. If you watch the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, you will regularly see cars that go out and only bring one set of tires. There's no way you are going to win a NASCAR race at even the second level of NASCAR. You're never going to win with only one set of tires. Ever. And so because of that, those teams essentially aren't really competitive. And you can make that argument, but that level is designed for guys to cut their teeth and learn, both as on the garage side and on the driver's side. So I would imagine it would eliminate some of that. Now, in the Cup Series, most guys, by the time you get into a Cup car that's competitive enough to qualify, you're going to be competitive. You're going to have enough in there to make sure you make it to the end of the race. There are not a lot of guys. We don't have Sterling Marling anymore. Do you know that name at all, Rich?
The name sounds familiar.
Sterling Marlin was a prolific driver in the 70s and 80s. Ended up not getting a team. Continued to try to get the team, but never could make it work. And so for years in the 90s, he would go to races and he could qualify, but he generally was not going to be. He might get through one set of cautions or one set of tires, but that's about it. After that, he's done, and he'd go in and park it. You don't see that in modern NASCAR anymore. So I think that would be one thing that would show that. Teams that on speed can't qualify, I think would be an indicator that your team is not good enough. But I think NASCAR is going to look at it holistically. Okay? So, Rich, you and I buy a NASCAR team.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, Mike, we're spending way too much money on this NASCAR team. I'm like, yeah, but it's a NASCAR team. It's going to cost money. If we stop putting the money into it, just the minimum money, they're going to be like, hey, man, you can't do that anymore. You start cutting corners in places like, hey, Rich, we started a NASCAR team. We can only afford 3 guys to go over the wall. You better learn how to be a jackman. I got to carry some fuel. They're probably going to be like, wait, what? And I'm talking Cup Series. I'm not talking the feeder series, because that does happen in both the Truck Series and in the O'Reilly's Auto Parts series. Wow, I got to get used to saying that. That's got to get clicked in my head. But so it's things like that. And again, I know you didn't do much looking at the checking the trial. I don't know how much trial coverage you did. I think I did a significantly more amount than you did, just because I was very intrigued by it. A little bit more than you. And I've been following NASCAR since, the 90s, early 90s at that. Anyway, so as we get into it, in NASCAR, in the courtroom, they talked about, well, why do you need a $75 million facility to build your cars? And the teens were like, well, the only way for us to be competitive is to have these state-of-the-art facilities to build our cars. Oh. So I think there's stuff like that. Looking at, are we rolling out of Rich's garage, literally Rich's home garage, that we slap this car together and bring it to the track on an open trailer and a toolbox that fits in the back of my Flex? Those are the types of things they're looking at. They're not looking at, is your guy competing for wins every week? Because if that's the case, there's only going to be five charters, maybe 10 charters. So, other things. So I actually, one of the discussions I wanted to get into is why NASCAR settled. I actually think it's a pretty easy open and shut case on why. But why NASCAR settled? Let me give you a couple quick rundowns. One, it had already been determined that they were monopolistic. They were a monopoly. The judge already had said, you are a monopoly. That wasn't even up for arguments anymore. The judge is like, you're a monopoly, NASCAR. When you're talking about stock car racing, not just in the U.S., but pretty much globally, you guys have set yourself up as a monopoly. There's a racing form of racing called IMSA. Have you heard of it, Rich?
Yes, I believe I have.
Did you know that NASCAR owns IMSA?
I did not.
Right. Nothing to do with anything that they normally do, but because it's stock car racing, they bought it. So the argument had become, were they using monopolistic or were they using antitrust tactics to gain an advantage on both competitors and stock car racing as a whole? There were things that came out that desperately showed that was an accurate statement. When they talked about SRX, which is essentially the retired NASCAR racing scene, it was a group that got together and started racing essentially spec cars, late models is what they're called, around, and they were getting TV time and they were getting this. NASCAR was asked, and this got brought up in court, and there's documentation for it. One of the tracks that NASCAR doesn't own, who NASCAR had signed an exclusivity rights with, said, hey, NASCAR, this organization would like to use it. Are we okay to let this event happen so we can make a little bit more money? And NASCAR said no. Using an unfair contract in order to eliminate a competitor. Does that sound like antitrust type practices to you, Rich?
Mm-hmm. It does. So I wouldn't.
So NASCAR is now seeing that they're being proven on this. Now, the other big bombshell that we didn't get to talk, we still haven't talked about, Richard Childress testified this week. Again, I don't know how much you know about Richard Childress's testimony, but they brought up I think it was a driver. It might have been I don't remember exactly, but they brought up something, and legitimately Richard Childress is like, hey, everybody that was in on any of those negotiations have signed an NDA that they cannot disclose anything, and you have details. NASCAR, how did you get these details? NASCAR didn't have an answer. NASCAR had zero answer for how they got the NDA the details of the agreement that are part of an NDA. And The judge literally said, we're going to have a closed door meeting. You're going to tell me how you found it. I'm going to let you know if you broke a law, and if these guys are then going to get a summary judgment on that for them on this thing, which, by the way, that's not out of the realm of possibility at this moment anyway. Richard Childress could still sue NASCAR and whoever broke the NDA. And NASCAR was real. So again, NASCAR hasn't. Nobody said any of these things on what finally broke that allowed these things to happen. But if you start building up all of this stuff, at some point you have to look at yourself if you're NASCAR and say, okay, if the judge, we're gonna lose this case at this point, and then the judge gets to decide what it looks like when we break up our quote-unquote monopoly and how the rule changes have to go. Permanent charters probably happen. Revenue sharing probably happens. All of the things that the teams want will probably happen. And NASCAR could be told, hey, all of your exclusivity deals that you have for these tracks, bye. Oh, and all the tracks that you own as an ownership group, you got to sell those off. Oh, and your TV rights deals, we're going to have to change that up too. And they could have killed NASCAR. Not just hurt NASCAR. They could have killed NASCAR as an organization. I don't think the teams wanted to do that, but I think they were willing to do that if that's what it took. Because NASCAR, and again, to go back to some testimony, Bill France spoke Tuesday, and as he spoke Tuesday, essentially anytime the plaintiff's attorney said anything, he was like, I don't know, I can't recall, I don't know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't give anything. He essentially did say from the stand that permanent charters are never going to happen. Jim France essentially had set it up that over his dead body would this happen. Finally, I think his lawyers got to him and said, if you don't put this out, you're not just going to lose this. You're going to have to do all of these other things, and it's going to be over, and you will not own NASCAR anymore. I think at that point it probably gets broken up and goes to the teams, and it becomes like NFL, NHL, NBA, that the teams own everything, and that the league works for the teams. And the France family didn't want that. So everybody apparently is happy enough that they had a decent press conference. I don't think we need to go through quotes. If you want, we can, but I don't think there's anything huge that needs to. Yeah, I'm super excited. Super excited that this is going to be a thing. By the way, I didn't realize it, but apparently I did work for Front Row Motorsports at one point in time.
You did?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, before I worked for Delta, who did I work for?
Did you work for the Front Row Furniture Company?
Nope. Front Row Motorsports is not Front Row. They were bought by the guy who owns Long John Silver's.
Oh, okay.
So, with that, Rich, let's head over to. And do you have anything to say?
I don't. I think I guess I'm glad to see that it's over. It wasn't something that I paid the most attention to, other than what could having their charters put on suspension matter to the individual drivers that were impacted to them. So I think I get that I think I like the evergreen, I guess, charter agreement, to where at least the teams have a little bit more control over the actual charter. as I don't think the teams obviously that we're suing probably aren't the teams that are in danger of losing their charter because of non-competing
No,
or in front of non-competing.
and by the way, all of the everybody, every other team owner needs to send Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin the biggest Christmas present they've ever sent any competitor ever in their life. Because they just ran through the door and got bloody. So
So Mike, go ahead and take us out on the NASCAR corner.
this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on Fifth Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Okay, Rich, let's head to the gridiron as we got to talk about. We're at 30 minutes already.
That's okay. All right, week 14, Mike. Bears Packers. Game was in Green Bay. Close game, but just couldn't come up. I think at least they were in a position to win the game, or at least tie it.
Yep.
It just didn't work out. It was a 28-21 Packers win. Mike, you and the Bears are both 9-4. I'm 10-3 in picking the Bears games because I said that I stuck with my preseason prediction of a loss, and that's the difference in our records. Not a good first half for the Bears, but they rebounded well in the second half at least, and maybe the outcome will be a little bit different when the two teams meet next week in Chicago, when we actually have Roman Dunze back in the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Good game. I enjoyed every minute of it. I thought the Bears could have done a little bit better, but it's all right. With that, Rich, let's look at the locks of the week. Last week, you picked the Seahawks over the Falcons. The Seahawks won, bringing you to 11-3 on the season. Rich, I picked the Buccaneers over the Saints. The Saints won 24-20, dropping me to 10-4. How'd our upset specials do?
Upset specials, Mike. He went with the Vikings over the Commanders. The Vikings won convincingly 31-0, Mike, bringing you to 500-7-7. Mike, I went with the Chargers over the Eagles, and the Chargers won in overtime 22-19, marking me to 3-11. Mike, what did you think of the play that happened in that game?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I didn't see it either, but if you had Jalen Hurts in fantasy, it really hurts you. He throws an interception.
Oh, it did. Oh, yeah. Oh,
that one. He throws an interception. Yeah. They throw an interception. The Charger player fumbles the ball. Jalen Hurts is the one that recovers the fumble, and then he fumbles it himself.
Yeah, and loses it. Not just fumbles, but loses. The team loses the fumble. He turns over twice in one game. How you gonna turn it over twice in one? I could do better than at that point, man. That
was like -4 points in one play with the interception and a fumble loss.
Yeah,
and a fumble and a loss. So
I forgot about that play. Yeah.
I didn't see the game. I didn't watch the game. Only saw the highlights because, of course, it being a Disney telecast in the Monsters Inc. world, being one of the telecast options, that got a lot of play.
I watched it. I watched parts of that. I didn't watch all of it. So, did you talk about how terrible I did with my upset special of the week? Oh wait, no, I did well.
You got it.
I
you
got
said
it.
The Vikings over the Commanders, 31-0.
Yeah, 31-0.
7-7. Thursday night football, Mike. Falcons, Buccaneers.
We both picked the Bucs. Somehow, Hotlanta pulled it off, dropping you to 10-5 on the season. Rich, how's my record?
You're 7-8 on the midweek games. But Mike, the next week you got a chance to get on the right side, as we'll have 3 midweek games.
Yeah.
To put out with the NFL wanting to get a piece of the pie with the scheduling games on Christmas Day. since it falls so close to the weekend. Since it falls so close to the weekend. I think the only thing I heard about this game is how do you blow a 14-point fourth quarter lead. That was the difference maker for the Bucks. The Bucks are going in the wrong direction. The wrong direction lately, and they've lost their division. Their hold on the division, to where the Carolina Panthers of all teams have the division right now. Week 15, Mike. It's an odd week, so we'll start. So you'll have the honors of giving your lock and upset of the week first. But Mike, first things first, we have the Bears, who will be welcoming the Cleveland Browns to Chicago in what's going to be a very cold day. Very cold game out on the lake.
Terribly cold. This is going to be a terrible day, but we'll make it work. Rich, I'm going to pick the Bears. The Browns are a terrible team, and I don't see anything going right for them.
I'm picking the Bears, but there's a small part of me that worries that this could be a trap game as the team is looking ahead to getting that Green Bay game. But at the same time, they need to get right.
Trap games do not come after what's it called? Trap games don't happen after
A loss.
After a loss. Trap games don't happen after a loss. You can't have a trap game after a loss.
So I don't know. I mean, with it being cold, you're probably not going to see a lot of passing. So it could be a field position game, or I could see a key defensive play happening being the difference maker in the game, which is, I think, what gives the Browns a chance in this game, as they run the ball, is they don't have the most stable quarterback position. They don't have the most stable quarterback position, so they're going to use their running backs early and often. But the Bears seem to prefer to keep the ball on the ground too. But it could be the Browns defense making the difference in it, but I'm hoping that's not the case. Mike, lock of the week, who are you going to go with?
My lock of the week this week, I do it. I'm doing it way too much this year, but I got to pick on the Titans again. 49ers over the Titans. Just makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's probably a safe bet. This is only the second. Yeah, I think it's only the second time that you've picked against the Titans. So I've been the one that's been picking on the Titans a lot this year. So yeah, I can definitely see that. 49ers are playing good defense. Titans are still struggling. So yeah, I can see that. I'm going to stay in the AFC South, and I'm going to go with the Red Hot Jaguars over the New York Jets. Jets are going to be on their third string quarterback, a rookie that nobody's heard of. And that team's going nowhere fast as well. So,
speaking of third string quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks and retired quarterbacks, I'm going to pick the Indianapolis Colts over the Seahawks. The Colts have a really good team. Quarterback is their least, I don't want to say it's their least important. But of the good teams this year, their quarterback position is the least important of their team, if that makes sense.
A little bit.
Yeah. So because of that, I am going to have to pick the Colts over the Seahawks. And who knows, maybe by tomorrow morning, Phillip Rivers, coming out of retirement, quote unquote, joining the practice squad, may get a couple reps in a game at 44 years old after being out of the league for 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. He'll be the second quarterback to be a grandpa and get into NFL action.
How about the fact that some of his kids could be in the NFL if he wanted?
I don't. Does he have kids that are old enough that are post college?
I'm pretty sure. Let me check.
While you're checking that, I'll give you my upset pick. I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Broncos. Um, as I said last week when I picked the Packers over the Bears, that they're the hot team right now, and I think the Broncos are winning. They're coming out on the good end of some close games, so I think the Packers keep rolling
Okay,
and
so
they
the
get the win.
official answer will be
Yeah.
it would, at worst, it would be a son-in-law.
Okay. That's old enough to maybe be in the NFL.
Yeah. 23.
Gotcha.
23. So,
All right. For me, I don't know if I like the Colts over the Seahawks, even if Daniel Jones was healthy for this. Excuse me, was healthy for this game, and the team wasn't on this losing streak. I really like the Seahawks this year, so I wouldn't have picked that team even with a healthy quarterback situation, let alone Philip Rivers coming out of potentially starting the game, coming out of retirement.
I'm not as bullish on the Seahawks as you are. I'm actually kind of bearish on them instead. So,
All right, so Mike, what do you, I guess, think of all the thoughts around Philip Rivers? You got Colin Kaepernick, who seems to pop up everywhere on the news, saying every time somebody else gets signed instead of him, saying I'm disrespected because you're not recognizing me as a viable option.
Racist.
I'm ready. I'm staying in shape.
Racist.
And now you
Here's the
got
problem.
Cam Newton, and now you got a commentator with ESPN and Cam Newton
Yep.
sparking, saying that I felt disrespected. I'm ready. I'm
It's
better
a
than
slap in the face.
slap in the face. I'm better than that.
Cam Newton might have an argument if it wasn't for the fact of the last 4 years of him playing. He looked like
I
hot
agree.
garbage.
Yeah, those Patriot years were terrible.
So, boom, instantly loses. He doesn't have the credibility there.
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick last played in the NFL in 2016.
So he's been out of the league longer than Philip Rivers.
Significantly longer than Philip Rivers. He's been out of the league for 9 years. Colin, you are not getting picked up. Do I think there were times that you were a better quarterback than some of the guys playing? Probably. But your attitude, the way that you treat your team, the way that you dug yourself into a hole. Does that make it racist? I don't think it makes it racist, but I think you have set yourself up to not play in this league. I'm not saying you couldn't do decent, but you're never going to be a. Here's the other thing. Here's my question. Okay. Let's say I'm the Colts. Ring, ring, ring. Colin Kaepernick. Hey, Colin. Hey, Colin. You got to answer. Hey, Colin.
Yeah.
Hey, we need a quarterback coach, or we need a quarterback, or we need a practice team quarterback. You ready to be on the practice team?
Nope. I'm a starting quarterback.
No. Seriously, man, you haven't played in 9 years.
Nope. I'm a starting quarterback. I'm a starting quarterback.
Wait, you're telling me you're not willing to take a practice team spot?
Nope.
That's all I have. Okay, bye. And that's exactly how that conversation goes. Philip Rivers isn't expecting to play. He can play. He'll be ready to play, but he's not expecting to play. Everybody's talking, he's going to start. No, he's not going to start. They're going to have both their third string and their fourth string quarterback right now. That's what they're at. They're going to have both those guys break their legs this week before they'll even think about bringing Phillip in this week, but before he'll even start a game next week. Is Colin Kaepernick ready to sit on the practice squad until it's time to bring him in like anybody else would in the league? I don't care how good you think you are. You haven't been in the league for 9 years. You are not ready to play. You're not ready to start. You're not ready. You're not even ready to be on the backup squad. You are on the practice squad. We're talking about practice?
All right, let's bring it back down. So, but yeah.
Practice?
I only bring it up because it seems like every single time that there's a quarterback signing, there's a quarterback needy team.
We're talking about a practice squad, though.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I mean it as the 100% joke. The practice? We're talking about practice? We're not talking about the... Yeah, I mean it. I'm channeling my Ted Lasso. But here's the deal. Colin would not... I guarantee you, if they called him, and maybe they did, and this is the hard part, maybe they did and they said, this isn't, for you to get a call, you have to sign this NDA. Maybe they did that. I don't know. They're probably not. But I guarantee you, if they did that right now, he is not going to accept a job on the practice squad. And by the way, do you think Cam Newton's going to take a job on the practice squad for a week or two? For a month? To the end of the season? I liked Colin Kaepernick. I genuinely love Colin Kaepernick. I support Colin Kaepernick. I think he, at times, totally deserved to be the leader of a team. That might have been 8 years ago. 8 years ago is when I think he probably should have been in the league. But where are we now? He's been out of the league for 8 years. Also, his lack of humbleness to play anywhere but starting quarterback is astounding. But with that being said, he's got 6 years on Phillip Rivers. I can understand why it feels hurtful. But maybe the Colts know that Phillip Rivers is humble enough to be like, yeah, I'll just sit here and throw balls to the practice squad.
Well, I think the biggest thing is he's in the building.
I'll sit here and talk with your quarterbacks to help them get better so that they can be the guys that go out and play on Sunday.
All right. Totally did not expect that to go down that rabbit hole, as far down that rabbit hole as we did. Thursday Night Football, Week 16. It's a good one. Rams Seahawks in Seattle.
Yeah. Rams Seahawks in Seattle. I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm already said I'm bullish against the Seahawks. Or I'm bearish against the Seahawks.
Okay. For me, I think I'm going to side with the home team here.
Okay.
I think when the game was in Inglewood, I said the Seahawks. So I'm going to keep going down that row, going down the line, going with the Seahawks. Defense wins championships. They got a great defense over there in Seattle. And, of course, the game's in Seattle, so they have a huge home field advantage.
Yep. Rich, we're going to push back our Mount Rushmore talk this week. I got on too big of a soapbox there, so we'll need to push that back a week.
Well, yeah, let's go with a brief rundown of our power rankings, I guess, since we're getting close to time.
So, Rich, at number one this week, I have who do I have? I don't even remember. I have the Denver Broncos.
Okay. I still have the Patriots. So
Yeah, I have the Patriots even still a little bit lower than that, as I have the Rams at number 2.
all right. This is where I put the Broncos.
Okay.
I guess for me, between the Patriots and the Broncos, I don't know. I guess I like that. I guess I like that. I like the wins that the Patriots have more than the Bronco wins.
Okay. I don't fault you for that.
And by all means, their ranking could drop if they don't sweep their season series against the Bills.
Yep.
Who they play this week.
At number 3, I have the Patriots.
Okay. I put the Rams at number 3.
At number 4, I have the Bills.
This is where I have the 49ers. So I like that they're still winning games in spite of their injuries to key players. Like going really low down on the depth chart for their wide receiving core, and Brock Purdy missing a lot of games and them still winning.
Okay.
So
who do you have at number 5?
Number 5 is where I have the Seahawks.
I agree with the Seahawks here. At number 6, I have the Green Bay Packers.
All right. This is where I put the Bills.
Okay. Not a bad spot for them. Who do you got at number 7?
That's where I put the Packers.
This is where I have the 49ers.
Okay.
With the Rams being as good as they are, and again, that whole division is so good that 3 of those teams are at the top, in the top 7 for me. But the likelihood that all 3 of those teams end the season, I'm starting to get to the point where I look at how they're going to end the season, and the fact that playoff-wise, I don't know that all 3 of these teams are going to make the playoffs, especially if one of these teams goes on a tear and beats up the other ones.
Okay.
So that's going to hurt the teams. So with that, if the Rams beat the Seahawks, they drop a little bit. If the Niners lose, they start to lose. Like, it just, there is very easily paths that one of these teams doesn't make the playoffs, and if that happens, that's why I'm starting to bring them down a little bit. But the Niners are still at number 7, a great team. Number 8, I have the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that's where I put the Bears as well.
That loss wasn't a bad loss.
No, it wasn't a bad loss. So I didn't drop them too much. I think they might have been in my top 5 last week.
Yeah, mine too.
So it was a good loss.
Number 9, I have the Jacksonville Jags.
Yeah, that's where I put the Jaguars too. They made a big leap this week up the rankings.
Feels weird to put them there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you got at number 10, Rich?
Rounding out the top 10, I put the LA Superchargers.
Okay, I like it. I don't think they deserve to be there as much as I think the Detroit Lions deserve that spot. And then I have the Superchargers at number 11, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of even started doing the whole, all right, if you're making the playoffs, so you got to rank the playoff teams, and then if you're not in the playoffs, 15 and below is where you're going.
And I admit that the Lions are not on that schedule yet, so I get it.
So for me, the division, not having the division and being buried 3rd in your division and not being in the playoff picture, that's what put the Lions down to number 12 for me. As I put that's where I put the Texans. It seems like that South division, a lot of people are ranked around the same, with the same record, but only one of them's making the playoffs, and that's the Jaguars right now.
And I have
the Texans are in a position.
I have the Texans at 12, by the way.
Yeah, the lowest rated division team that I have is the Philadelphia Eagles, as it seems like they're going in the wrong direction, as I put them down to 13.
And what's crazy is nobody in that division seems like they're wanting to take it on. The Cowboys are dropping, the Giants are garbage, and the Commanders, who we thought were going to be a decent team this year. I didn't think they were going to be great, but I thought they were going to be decent enough. Man, they look terrible too. Speaking of terrible teams, let's get to that bottom 5. We'll actually do bottom 6 because I'm talking about those Washington Commanders as I have them at 27.
I don't quite have the Commanders down that far.
By the way,
I still think they're a good football team, but injuries.
Are they though? Are they?
I'm going back to how they did last year and how they're doing now, and I think injuries.
We are 15 weeks into the season, and you're still looking at how they did last year.
Okay.
Which, by the way, time out.
Okay.
One of your biggest reasons to drop a team is what their expectation game for this year was. How do you expect those Commanders to do this year?
Win the division.
Oh, whoa! So you had them winning the division, and they're down at the bottom of the second to last team in the division, and only one game up from the Giants. They only have 3 wins, and you're going to tell me when you have other teams that you had higher expectations for that drop lower because how bad they're playing, you're going to put the Commanders up that high?
I only have them at 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're only at 25 for me, but
okay.
For me, they've been the difference between they just haven't been able to overcome the injuries that they were.
Yeah, but that's part of the game.
It is, and if anything, Mike, maybe those 1 or 2 point wins where they were coming out on top this year, they're on the wrong side. They're on the wrong side of those narrow victories.
Like we talked about last year, the tale of two teams. Last year it was the Bears in the position that the Commanders are, and the Commanders are in the position that the Bears were in last year. So, 28, Rich, I have the Cleveland Toilet Bowl Browns.
Okay. 27. This is where I put the Jets.
Okay. Yep.
The Browns are at number 28 for me. If anything, it's because there was a head-to-head matchup between the Jets and the Browns, so that's what gave them the edge.
The Saints are at 29.
Yeah, I agree.
Who you got at 30?
30 is where I put the New York Football Giants.
Yep. Who you got at 31?
The Las Vegas Raiders.
And all together now, 32 is the Tennessee Titans. Yeah.
I was really, really close to putting the Raiders at number 32 because of how they're at least struggling to put up points on the board, where at least the Titans have some close wins, but if anything, their victories, the victories that the Raiders have been able to pull off against those Titans and against my number 1 team, the Patriots, is what gives them the edge. But if they keep putting up bad numbers, I might have to put them down number 32.
Okay. With that, Rich, I want to ask, where do you have the Minnesota Vikings division?
The Minnesota Vikings, I put them at number 23.
What? Rich, are you in my head? That's where I have the Titans as well, or the Vikings as well. Like that, just yeah. Okay, with that, Rich.
One more team, Mike. Where did you put the Kansas City Chiefs?
19.
I have them at 17.
They have to win out and have at least 2 teams lose out, I believe, if I remember correctly, in order for them just to make the playoffs. They theoretically can be eliminated from the playoffs this week, if I remember correctly. Let me look that up. I'm going to look that up for confidence sake.
Okay.
So they can no longer win the division.
Yep.
That they're out of that. And so they have to win out. They have to win out, essentially, is minimum. And I can't remember. Yeah. Chiefs could be mathematically eliminated this week, depending on how they do. If they lose. If they lose, the Bills win, and the Jags win, the Bills, Jags, and Texans win, and the Chiefs lose, they are mathematically eliminated.
Which is a possibility because they got to face the Superchargers.
Yep.
The Jaguars have an easy opponent in the New York Jets, and the Bills got a divisional game, so that can go either way.
The Texans are playing the Cardinals, which not an easy game, but not that they should win that game actually. So, yeah, the Chiefs could be eliminated this week.
All right, Mike. So those are our power rankings.
I was wrong. It was 3 teams have to win, and they have to lose.
All right. So, Mike, in our quick hits, I guess we'll keep kicking the can down the road on the gambling issues in sports. And kind of like the Cubs have only made some marginal signings in putting some bullpen arms, putting some relievers into their bullpen, but nothing really noteworthy besides the kind of some of the best closers in baseball are already signed. Kind of disappointed those guys aren't going to be wearing Cubby blue, but there's still a lot of trades that could be done. That could be done maybe in the next couple of months. So, Mike, do you have any shout-outs this week?
Other than Matt Johnson and you guys.
Yeah.
But I'll let you make that one because it's. I mean, technically I'm recognizing you and your wife, but it's more important that you recognize your wife.
Yeah, December 18th. So Thursday, it'll be 15 years for my wife and I. 15.
Man. To see how much you guys have gone through in those 15 years, I'm so proud of you guys. Gives me hope. I don't know if I've shared it on here, but the last few years have given me a lot to look at. I've had a lot of friends go through some times that ended marriages, and marriages that I didn't ever think would end. And seeing you guys as a pillar really does give me hope. And it's exciting to see, and I love it for you guys. By the way, that's 15 years since this summer of weddings for me is what that also means. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? Yeah. So with that, Rich, happy anniversary to you and yours. And we're excited to see what the next chapter holds for you guys. 15 down, 1,000 more left.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you got to say?
No, I don't think I do.
With that, Rich, go ahead and take us out.
All right, Mike. If you're listening to us here in the podcast land, make sure to check us out over on YouTube to be a part of a live conversation. As if Mike catches any comments that come through during the recording of our video, we'll make sure to give you a shout out and answer the question or to kind of add to the discussions. If you're watching us here on YouTube and you want to take us with you wherever you may go and listen to us at your leisure, make sure to look us up anywhere where you download your favorite podcasts. Mike, with all that being said, let's go ahead and roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.